to start. Let's start with Iran.
Mm-hmm.
What is the media not telling us about this situation?
Global warming is responsible.
Yes.
That's what the media isn't telling you.
Yes.
Soleimani, the terrorist general, so hot over there, he lost his mind, ordered the attack of the American embassy in Baghdad, 2 consecutive days of Shiite militia under the orders of Soleimani, terrorizing our embassy. Then they caught him at the airport, U.S. Intel, and they smoked him. So that's what happened, and you then bring it over to the United States, where there are 2 things going on. Number one, that most people have no idea what the Quds Force is, where only 28% of Americans in a survey taken this week could actually pinpoint where Iran is on a map when given the map and an outline. They didn't fill in the country's names, but they said, here's the map of the Middle East. Where's Iran? 28% of Americans could do it. So I'd say the frame of reference of our people here, not the best. And then you combine that with the hate Trump movement, whereas anything President Trump does is bad and evil.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're president, so if you're sitting there and the U.S. Embassy, which is American property, it's American soil, is attacked, and then you know the guy did it, is in a certain place, you don't do anything to him?
I mean,
is that what we're looking at now? Apparently it is. Because Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, even Biden dancing as he usually does. But, no, you can't do that. You got to let them just attack the embassy. And I'm saying to myself, what is going on? Excuse me. What is happening to this country? Because that wouldn't have even been debatable even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Even Barack Obama, as soft as he was, would have retaliated against the general that ordered an attack on an American embassy. So
it seems
where
like,
we are.
Bill, we have a big change. I mean, today's Glenn's 20th anniversary of doing this program, which is crazy. And about half of that time back in history, I remember one morning waking up and seeing the news that Osama bin Laden had been killed. And this was not a moment where right-wing media came out and started criticizing Barack Obama. It was a moment that we celebrated as a country together as a wonderful thing. This terrible person who was killing Americans was gone. And that does not seem to be present at all with this Soleimani.
And guess who was the only member of the Obama cabinet that advised against the Pakistani raid by the SEALs?
Was it
Joe Biden?
Joe Biden, yeah.
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He said it was the most difficult decision in 500 years, which I never understood. I didn't know he was that old.
I mean,
either.
that's why Trump is salivating about, whether it's Biden. It's not going to be the socialists. It's either going to be Biden or Buttigieg. Buttigieg, I guess, is an outside chance for this nomination. But you are living in a country now that is becoming increasingly distracted by the personal devices. This is another underreported story, especially younger people under 40. They don't pay attention to anything but what's in their hand. And they get dribs and drabs of what's happening, but they, as I said, they don't know what the history of Iran is, what Iran is trying to do, the violence that they've brought to the Middle Eastern region, which includes killing Americans. They don't know any of this. And the media does not want to educate anymore or put forth facts. That's not why the media is in business. They're in business to either hate or like Donald Trump. That's where the money is, and there's a lot of money. So, we're living in a rapidly changing time. But Trump this week, I think he did himself some good by being measured. I think going forward, if he can continue that tone, that he has a good chance to be reelected.
You did write a book about Donald Trump. What do you think the chances are that he continues this tone?
Well, that's an excellent question, and it's based on speculation. In the United States of Trump, he says humbly, is by far and away the best book ever written on Donald Trump because it's not a pro or anti-Trump book. I'm just trying to explain the man. And in my explanation of Donald Trump, there is the fact that no one knows what he will do. I don't think he even knows what he's doing from day to day. It's all about how he feels. Is he aggrieved? Is he, it's a very unpredictable situation in the White House right now, and that's not good. It's not good.
It's interesting because one of the knocks on Trump, and if you look at the polling, it's supported there as well. They think he's doing a great job with the economy, and there's a bunch of stuff they really like. One of the things the American people tend to worry about is how he would handle a major international crisis. And if you see this here, I mean, how do you not rate this
great.
an A+ so far? I mean, this has been...
he handled it well, and that drove the, it was interesting to watch the reaction from the Hate Trump networks after his speech. They really didn't know where to go. All right.
Right.
So it was like, wow, he was moderate. He's not going to hit them back. He's not going to escalate. So what do we do now? What do we do now? And then it kind of degenerated into this amorphous, he didn't consult with Congress, and he didn't tell Nancy Pelosi what he was going to do. And the Americans immediately, as they have with impeachment, turned away after that. We live in a time now where facts and truth really doesn't mean that much, and that disturbs me.
Okay, but you brought up impeachment, and I'm fascinated by this. Do you understand, Bill O'Reilly, what Nancy Pelosi is attempting to do here? Because she waited for 2 years. She finally decided to go forward with the impeachment on basically no evidence. She rushed it through and said she couldn't call witnesses because she had to get it done so fast, and now is holding onto the articles of impeachment with seemingly no plan whatsoever. I mean, if you are a Democrat, aren't you looking at her and saying this is a massive failure?
I don't think Democrats care, and I don't think Republicans care anymore. I think the story is dead.
Well, that's a massive failure for them, right? Why do it if the story's going to die in a week?
It's a failure, but they got PR out of it. It was always a PR stunt. It's like Evel Knievel. I mean, that's what it was like. I'm going to jump over the gorge. It's Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to impeach President Trump. All right, so you did it, and not one Republican voted for it. There's no chance of a conviction, so we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. She'll send it over. Feinstein, basically, the senator from California, Democratic senator, said, look, Nancy, send it over. This is boring. We got to get this done. So she'll send it over on Monday or maybe late this afternoon. And then it'll go nowhere. McConnell already has a stranglehold on the process over there in the Senate. But, Pelosi is a creature of the party. And the party says, okay, it's not going to ultimately work for us, but we got the damage on the impeachment, and so now we'll go to something else.
But this is like a major loss for Nancy Pelosi, don't you think? It looks
not for her people, though. You see, the hate Trump people, the Democrats, the liberals, the far left, they don't look at it that way. They don't process it that way. They never really thought that this was going to remove Donald Trump. I mean, even a nut like Sheila Jackson-Lee didn't think that. They just wanted to embarrass him, and they put him off his game, and then hope he reacts in a way that's going to hurt him. See, it's all about pushing, and hoping Donald Trump then reacts in a way that's going to make it worse. So that's what it was all about.
It does seem like the president has some momentum, though, now, doesn't it? Because he's handled this situation with Iran really well. And now it looks like he's going to win on this impeachment situation too. That she is now even acquiescing and saying, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna send the articles to the Senate soon." So it seems to me that after the Senate trial, he's going to have quite a bit of momentum heading into springtime.
I think his poll numbers will go up a little bit to the mid 40s, maybe upper 40s. But the real momentum Donald Trump has is in the disintegration of his opposition. Mm-hmm. So it's not Americans that, Iran, now what's new? So that's gone now. Maybe it'll come back because remember, the Mullahs don't want him reelected. So they could start trouble at any time to interfere in our process here. and I expect that to happen. But that story's gone now. Impeachment will be gone in 2 weeks. But the lack of a real viable candidate to take on Donald Trump is what gives the president momentum. Because all of these people, I mean, they haven't distinguished themselves, and they're weak. They're all weak. And if he were facing a Michelle Obama, for example, it would be a much different story. But he knows, and the Republicans know, that they don't have anybody to put up against him right now.
It's Pat and Stu for Glenn. On the Glenn Beck program today, more with Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com coming up in 60 seconds.
It's Pat and Stu for Glenn on the Glenn Beck program on the 20th anniversary of the Glenn Beck program. Glenn is out with a family emergency, very last minute, had to fly up to Connecticut. He's asking you for your prayers, and we'd appreciate those, of course. Bill O'Reilly is joining us, and we were talking a little bit about the sort of politics around the election. And it kind of struck me today as I'm looking at the news. Here's unemployment, Bill, at 3.5%, the lowest in 50 years. Can a president lose a presidential election with economic numbers like this?
Yeah, he can lose if he makes mistakes. Because we're living in an age now where not everyone is doing well. I mean, you got a lot of people in America who don't have the education or the skill set to rise above a certain level, but they want the same amount of things that the affluent have. And that's the gulf, all right? So you're not primed to make a lot of money because you're not well educated and you really didn't learn how to do anything that sets you apart in the marketplace. But you want the buying power of a $200,000 a year salary. And those are the people that are disaffected, that are, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are going for those people. So it's all stacked against you. It's not your fault you didn't pay attention in school or take the time to learn how to fix something. No. It's the government's fault. So elect us and we'll give you all this stuff. That's what it is. So those people are always going to be there, no matter how good the economy is. But Donald Trump goes in with some pretty firm successes, and if he can capitalize on them, he'll win.
You mentioned you thought Joe Biden was the front runner, and really only Buttigieg with another really small possibility. You don't think any of these socialists are a real threat?
No, because the minority community, which is the lifeblood of the Democratic Party now, they're not going to vote for socialists. Hispanic Americans are not. They know what happened in Cuba. They know what happened in Venezuela. They know what's going on in South and Central America. They're not going to vote for socialists. So you take them right out, all right? Now, they may not vote for Trump, but they're just not going to show up. African Americans, a little bit harder to read that. But I don't see any enthusiasm in any African-American precincts for socialism. None. I mean, Jay-Z, is he a socialist? Is Beyonce a socialist? And you laugh, but these are the most important people in the African-American culture. Jay-Z and Beyonce and Oprah, all right? They're the most important people. Are they socialists? So they have no traction, Warren and Buttigieg and Sanders, in the minority communities. None. How do they win?
Yeah, it's interesting, too. You bring up the pop culture, and one of the things that was one of Trump's biggest reasons he was a television star back when he was on The Apprentice is because African-American audiences loved the guy. I mean, he had great ratings. Yeah.
They want a pathway to achievement. I don't think minority Americans want the federal government with a boot on their neck, even if they're giving them stuff. I just don't think that I could be wrong on this, but I haven't seen anything that demonstrates minority voters are jazzed about socialism.
So if the socialists in the race can't win, Bill, and I don't see Biden winning this thing either. I mean, I see him winning the Democrat nomination, but I don't believe he can beat Trump.
It depends.
What would it take? I mean, what would the circumstances have to be for Trump to lose to Joe Biden?
Well, I see. I'm much more cautious because if you look at the Electoral College map, last time around, Trump won 30 states, Hillary Clinton won 20. But the Democrats are a lock to win California, Illinois, and New York. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's over 100 electoral votes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're starting there. Mm-hmm. Now, I believe Trump will win Texas and Florida. So, yes, you're elevating there, but it's not a lock. And minority voters, African Americans in particular, will vote for Biden because of the Obama association.
Yeah.
And if Barack Obama and Michelle take to the campaign trail, which they might, they don't have any use for Trump. If they get out there, then it's going to be close, even if Biden is befuddled. Now, in a one-on-one debate, you would think Trump could smoke him because Biden's got all kinds of problems with Ukraine, with his past votes, with his inarticulation. He just can't get a sentence out.
Yeah.
And I think you'll see that again next week. There's another Democrat debate next week. All right? And if Biden, and he just doesn't look like he has command.
No, he doesn't.
But if the Obama machine gets behind him, it's going to be close.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com is joining us. He's also the author of the #1 bestseller, The United States of Trump, which you can get anywhere you get your books. We're going to come back on the other side with more with Bill O'Reilly, and we'll tell you about the 20th anniversary of the Glenn Beck program, which happens to be today. Glenn just doesn't happen to be here for it. We hope he's back.
Why would he?
Why
would he be here?
It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it is.
It is. We're back with more here in just a second. It's Pat and Stu in for Glenn here on the Glenn Beck program, joined by Bill O'Reilly. Bill has a new column out talking about the way that the left, and as you put it, Bill, the totalitarian left, and it's the way they seem more and more when it comes to college campuses, when it comes to politicians that disagree, media people they don't like, of finding a way to just cancel them out of the culture, get rid of them completely because their ideas cannot be heard by the American people. They're just not smart enough to be able to handle it.
One of the themes of BillO'Reilly.com, we do 4 broadcasts a week of about 35 minutes each, and then I write a column or two and then a daily message of the day. And I've been pounding this theme that the woke culture, and that's the umbrella, is not really in business to improve the country. It's in business to silence the country. So last Sunday, Peggy Noonan in the Wall Street Journal wrote a column that says the woke people are the most hated, her word is hated, folks in the United States of America. I'm not sure that's true yet, but they should be, because they're in the death game. They want to kill people. And it's not a disorganized rabble. This comes out of very well-funded and organized organizations like Media Matters, the Bonner Group, Color of Change. There are maybe 24 of them, most of them based on K Street in Washington. And they receive huge grants of money from people like George Soros. Everybody knows that name now. But there are thousands of people like Soros who fund these people. And their dictum, their mandate, is to target people with whom the far left disagrees and destroy them by any means possible. And that's what's happening. And you can see it, how the media loves this. It couldn't happen without the media's cooperation. But they love it because the media in general is liberal. And if they can take out conservative voices and make it difficult for those people to appear on late night TV or morning TV, that kind of thing, they get a step up in the culture war. And that's what's happening.
So you You mentioned that they want to kill people. You're talking more metaphorically than literally, right?
And look, they wouldn't if I died tomorrow. Or
they wouldn't shed a tear. Yeah, that's
okay?
true.
They'd break out the champagne. These are vicious people.
Yes.
These are people
Yes, they are.
who believe that their conduct is justified because the traditional conservative movement is so evil. I mean, they believe we're evil, and I believe they're evil. So never the twain will meet. But the advantage they have, in addition to the money, the vast money they have to do what they do, is the media's acceptance of them and promotion of them. I mean, that's why the Golden Globe Awards were so stunning, where you had this Gervais basically saying, look, I'm a Brit, and I'm never going to do this show again, Golden Globes, so I'm going to tell the truth about these people. These Hollywood people who have a vast amount of influence. And he did.
Yeah.
And the next day, the L.A. Times cut his throat, Gervais' throat, and did everything they could to marginalize the truth that he said, that these Hollywood people don't know anything, they're ignorant, they're intolerant, and if you don't toe their line, you won't work in Hollywood. And that's true. And the same thing goes for Disney and AT&T and Comcast and all of these corporations that control the media flow in this country. It's a bad situation, and Americans should know just how bad it is.
Now, I've watched you, Bill, for 25 or 30 years, and I've known you for a decade. I don't know that I've ever heard you use the word evil before. Is that a new thing? Is that a new realization for you, or a new belief structure about these people?
No, I've used evil before in the sense that if you are a human being who wants to hurt other human beings, all right, hurt them, you're evil. Now, if it's self-defense, everybody understands that. But if you are somebody who really devotes your life to hurting others, if you are a criminal, if you are an abuser of children, that's evil.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm seeing now a movement in this country that's being accepted that is at the same level of the totalitarian regimes of the past in the Soviet Union, in China, in Germany, where there were political parties that were bent on subjugating people and were going to do anything they could to accomplish that. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference? So it is evil, in my opinion.
It's amazing, though, given this context, Bill, here's a huge group of people, very well organized, relentless, just trying to shut people up. And if you read the Peggy Noonan column, in a way, she almost seems optimistic about it, that eventually the American people are going to wake up and toss this aside and reject it. Do you find that optimism?
In her column, and by the way, I'm not a big fan of hers because she was, one of the witch hunters and the misconduct stuff. Everybody was guilty. But anyway, she thinks that someone is going to rise up and challenge these people. Well, who might that be? You're going to get killed if you do that. By the New York Times and the Washington Post and Hollywood and The View and MSNBC and CNN. Who's going to do that? I mean, you would have to have billions of dollars and you would have to have hundreds of armed guards even to take them on. I mean, that's how bad it is. Now, yes, you have a conservative media. You have people on radio and television that stick up for traditional values. But it's 100-1 against. I mean, you're overwhelmed by the other side. And that's the state we're in. So I'm not optimistic that some white knight is going to come out. I don't know how that could possibly happen.
Bill, where we know people should go find you at BillO'Reilly.com, as you so wonderfully outlined just a moment ago. What else should people be aware of? The book, is that the thing you're pushing right now?
No. The book is we did very well with the United States of Trump, and I appreciate you guys helping us with it. We have a new killing book out May 12th, Killing Crazy Horse. the American Indian Wars, which is unbelievable. I think people will enjoy that. That is the 9th Killing book, 17 million copies of my history books in print. And if you become a BillO'Reilly.com premium member, you get the book free and first. So that's pretty much what I'm hawking right now.
Very nice. Bill, did you have a 20th anniversary message for Glenn that you wanted to make sure he heard?
Well, first of all, I hope, look, I've been friends with Beck for a long time.
Yeah.
And anything that is troubling him troubles me. So I'm, just hoping that everything turns out. If I can do anything, you guys tell him that I'm here to do whatever he needs. But, Glenn Beck is an interesting, and I don't want to spend a lot of time because I know you have to sell pillows and stuff. But if you step back and you watch what Beck does, he's different than me and others who are more traditional in this country and the media. It's because Beck is basically what I call a true believer. I mean, he has a vision of what America should be and how people should participate in the country. And it's different than everybody else. And that's why I like, I give Beck a hard time. There's nobody that makes more fun of him than I do. But when it comes right down to it, Beck is an important resource for this country. And I'm so happy that he's been successful in the 20th anniversary. He started when he was 62 years old. He's 82 now. And, I just hope he can last as long as he wants to last.
All right, Bill O'Reilly, BillO'Reilly.com. We're going to sell some pillows, but thanks for joining us today.
All right, guys. Cheers.